we stumbled on it in 2010. We found that it was an abandoned pet cemetery that was established in 1936. And in the middle 80s, the next generation was not interested in maintaining it, and they abandoned it. And I happened to find it in 2010. The reason I found it was somebody told me about a war dog monument out in the middle of an old abandoned pet cemetery, so I had to go check that out. So I took my trusted companion, Cody, a German Shepherd, that's my sidekick for several years. I said, let's go for a ride, Cody, and let's go check that out. So we got here on this corner, and I didn't see anything, just a wooded area. So we parked the car and walked in, and sure enough, there was that big monument, that war dog on it. And as I stood around and I seen these flat headstones popping through the knee-high grass and all the bramble and everything. And I kind of did one of those things a lot of people that do. I said, you know, somebody should do something about this. You know, how many times we all said that? And it just kind of hit me. I said, well, Weitlauf, why don't you do something about it? So I got a hold of my military buddies, canine supporters, and let's pick a date. We'll start cleaning that place up. We'll break it down a grid at a time, and we'll just go ahead and clean it up. So we set a date, and I'm hoping to get 10 or 12, 15 people, men and women, whoever want to help, to go ahead and start working on it. That day, 55 people showed up. And I said, whoa, I think we've got something here. So we just kept going until it took us 2 years to totally clean the whole thing up. And in 2012, that's when we renamed the property. It was called the Happy Hunting Ground Pet Cemetery. We renamed it to the Michigan War Dog Memorial, that we would be interning only military and police dogs. That was our goal. And in 2013, we buried our first military dog, MWD Buddy. And he is buried right up there, you can see his headstone. And that started it. So since then, now it's been 12 years, we have turned over 75 service dogs with full ceremonial burial.
When they did the dedication of the Vietnam Canine Memorial Wall, we had handlers come from throughout the U.S. to verify that their dog's name and number was on that wall. And there was one in particular, the dog's name is Buddy. The gentleman came all the way up from Texas, and he and I were chatting after the ceremony, and he said he came at 5 o'clock in the morning because he knew when he saw his dog's name that it was going to bring him down to his knees. And he said he wanted to do it alone, in private. It just means the world to the handlers. There's not a service that I have been a part of where the handlers are not extremely appreciative of being able to say goodbye to their partner with dignity and with honor.
And the main purpose was to come to the Michigan War Dog Memorial to pay our respects and just have a look at this wonderful setup that you have here.
Because they want to duplicate this in Australia.
We would love to. It's kind of a bit hard in Australia to get the dogs recognised by the government, and also to find some land and everything that you're going to have virtually a cemetery put on there. But we are working on it.
So he said, if I send you over a bronze plaque, would you put that at your memorial to honor our dogs in Australia? And I said, sure, we'll do that. So he sent over a small plaque. Well, we went one step further. We made a regular monument with all his dogs in action in Australia.
Sent it over to Phil. Phil jiggled it around a bit and everything, had it jiggled around. And it's come up the way it has come up now, and it looks brilliant. We also sent over our association plaque, which is on the monument as well.
Matter of fact, when we set the stone, and I took a picture of it and threw it out there on Facebook to Ray in Australia, and it just went viral in Australia. I mean, they couldn't believe what we did for them. 2 weeks later after that, New Zealand got a hold of me and said, hey, we're friends with the Aussies. You know, if I send you a plaque, will you present our dogs? So that's how their plaque got here. And then we was going to have a dedication. So I thought, where's the closest Australian consulate? So I Googled it. Well, one's in New York and one's in Chicago. I said, well, Chicago's not that far. So I got on the phone and I just called in. And the poor receptionist, she didn't even know where to transfer me, but I said, this is what I was looking for. I wanted somebody to come in and be the keynote speaker for the dedication. So about 2 days later, this young lady calls me up and she said, Mr. Weitlauf, you created quite a stir here at the consulate because everybody wants to go. But since I am the consulate, deputy consulate, I outrank them, so I'm coming. So she came as our keynote speaker. She told us all about Australia and New Zealand, the relationship, and what it means to them for their dogs to be honored here. So on that day was interesting. It's here in Lyon Township, you know, outside of South Lyon. This memorial now represents 3 countries. Well, it makes me feel good that we did something right, that it was needed. As things developed over the years, it was like it's meant to be, because things would come to us that we needed without a lot of soliciting. So it gives you a good warm feeling. It's just that you had an idea, you put it together, and it worked. Yeah, we're a nonprofit. You know, everything is from donated money. So we do fundraisers, and we've spread the word. One thing we do, we agreed to do this right from the start. We would not charge the handler any fee for burying his dog. And that included the headstone. We would pay for that. So that's why we go out and do fundraisers, and that's what pays for those headstones. We did not want the handler to be burdened by any financial issues for us to take care of his dog. His dog needed to be honored for what he did. And that's why we wanted to do it. So, and that still stands today. When we first started, the cost of the headstones was like $450. Today they're $900, with all the cost increases and supply issues and everything else. So every time we bury a dog here, it costs us $1,000. And I was very, very surprised. On our calendar, we got 15 dogs to bury this year. You know, we buried about half so far, but 15 dogs. That's $15,000 it's going to cost us. So I put a notice out there. Instead of asking for a donation, I asked, would somebody be willing to sponsor a dog for $1,000? And I was surprised. Within 3 weeks, we had all 15 dogs sponsored. So it worked.